Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to talk about the day King Solomon went viral. Two moms, two babies, one dead, one alive, each claiming the alive child is theirs. How is the king going to solve this issue? Let's read the story together. Let's see. We're going to show you 1 Kings 3:16 through 28. This is the King James, the NIV version if you want to follow along. So let's see. I was trying to see if I could make it bigger because I have it bigger on my screen, but okay, so hopefully you can read this. Now, two prostitutes came to the king and stood before him. One of them said, "Pardon me, my lord. This woman and I live in the same house, and I had a baby while she was there with me. And we were alone. There was no one in the house but the two of us. During the night, this woman's son died because she laid on him. Then she got up in the middle of the night and took my son from my side while I, your servant, was asleep. She put him by her breast and put her dead son by my breast. The next morning, I got up to nurse my son, and he was dead. But when I looked at him closely in the morning light, I saw that it wasn't the son I had born." Let me share this real quick now that this is working. Okay. The other woman said, "No, the living one is my son. The dead one is yours." But the first one insisted, "No, the dead one is yours. The living one is mine." And so they argued before the king. The king said, "This one says, 'My son is alive and your son is dead.' While that one says, 'No, your son is dead and mine is alive.'" Then the king said, "Bring me a sword." So they brought a sword for the king. He then gave an order: "Cut the living child in two and give half to one and half to the other." Whew. The woman whose son was alive was deeply moved out of her love for her son and said to the king, "Please, my lord, give her the living baby. Don't kill him." But the other said, "Neither I nor you shall have him. Cut him in two." Then the king gave his ruling: "Give the living baby to the first woman. Do not kill him. She is his mother." When all Israel heard the verdict the king had given, they held the king in awe because he saw that he had wisdom from God to administer justice. Isn't that so amazing? So let's switch back to, I'm going to take this off now, and here we go. So you have two women who are prostitutes living with each other. They, one of them was sleeping, and the other one rolls on the baby, suffocating it. She then swaps her baby for the live one. Okay, let's break this down. First of all, this is a clear case of jealousy. We have a clear case of jealousy here. The woman is jealous that the other woman did not kill her baby accidentally. By the way, this is one of the dangers of co-sleeping. Second of all, we have the spirit of witchcraft and manipulation, which is why she went through all of this devious plan. It reminds me of the creation story when Satan was jealous of Jesus. Because of the spirit of deceitfulness, it was impossible for the woman to talk this out. I'm pretty sure that the woman who lost her baby would have been comforted by the woman who didn't lose her baby. It's a horrible thing to wake up and realize that you have smothered your baby. It's just horrible. And so I'm sure she would have comforted her if she had, had a different attitude. But instead, her attitude was deceitfulness. And so that's why it was impossible for her to talk it out. Boy, King Solomon sure did have a difficult situation on his hands, didn't he? He basically guided them to solve their own issue. He didn't just make a ruling. And I also want to point out that he didn't change his ruling based. He didn't allow that to cloud his judgment. So I just want to point that out. threatening to give each mom half of the child. He was able to discern who was the real mother. They didn't have DNA testing back then. This great wisdom of King Solomon spread throughout the whole land, and that is the day that King Solomon went viral. I just think it's such a good thing that Solomon prayed to God for wisdom, because can you imagine if he had tried to solve this whole thing on his own and not seek out the wisdom of God? I don't know if he would have had the same outcome. I mean, maybe, but I just think we should really have a habit of God is our go-to. Like as soon as we need to figure something out, God is our go-to. I just think that's how it should be. And I think it's a good thing that King said, I think the outcome might have been different if he hadn't seeked God and his wisdom. So I've just been thinking about this, I read it and it was just really, I just felt like, man, I really need to talk about this. There's so much to this story. I read this story, a few times, and there was something about it that was different this time. And I just started thinking about it and I wanted to share it with you. So thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe and I'll see you in my next podcast. Bye-bye.